Board met in executive session on April 7th and April 28th to discuss litigation. First item on the agenda is Resolution 33 of 2015, which is a ratification of resolutions number 24 and 32, 2015 regarding vineyard commons. Mr. Donahue, I'd like to hand this over to you, maybe give us a little background and perhaps tell us what the resolution is. I think procedurally now I would ask for a motion and a second, and we will open up the discussion from the board and the public.
Sure. The history is resolution number 20.
Can you turn the microphone on, please?
The history is resolution number 24-2015 was approved back in March. And then the board came back with a clarification on the conditions with resolution number 32-2015. That public meeting was held on April 14th, 2015. And at that time, the board inadvertently failed to provide for a designated public comment period before taking action on that particular resolution. So the purpose of this evening is to again address the resolution number 32-2015, which clarifies resolution number 24 of 2015. By way of history, 32-2015 addressed certain questions that were posed by the applicant by a letter with respect to the condition. Conditions number 5A and 5B, the township agrees that the Beaver Valley Road improvements set forth in paragraphs 5A and 5B of the resolution be phased according to the following schedule. And when I'm referring to 5A and 5B, that would be 5A and 5B of the original resolution, which would have been 24-2015. The financial security for all required road improvements shall be posted with the filing of the plans and the execution of the developer's agreement and improvement security agreement. The financial security shall be posted for all other improvements as each phase is issued permits. The applicant shall provide sketch plan level design plans for all the aforementioned roadway improvements for township and PennDOT review prior to final land development approval. The improvements to Route 202, southbound left turn lanes at Beaver Valley Road, and the additional northbound Route 202 through right lane turn shall be designated subject to the review and approval of PennDOT and the township engineer. The improvements to the intersection at Route 202 and Beaver Valley Road, Namens Creek Road, which is 5B, shall be completed prior to the start of Phase 3 and or within 3 years of the start of Phase 1, whichever date occurs first. The improvement to Beaver Valley Road, 5A, shall be completed prior to completion of 50% of Phase 4 or within 5 years from the date of the filing of the final plans, whichever date occurs first. All roadway improvements are predicated upon PennDOT approval and the availability of right-of-way. However, it is understood that should the applicant be unable to reasonably obtain right-of-way in conjunction with the approved sketch plans, the township has the prerogative to obtain the right-of-way, and if the township is successful, the applicant shall then immediately make the required improvements. The township shall cooperate with any efforts by applicant to secure funding for the aforementioned improvements where warranted, and will use its best efforts to have other developers of subsequently approved plans which are directly adjacent to and benefited by the aforementioned roadway improvements to reimburse a portion of the cost to happen. Condition number 5C, should any developer submit a plan during the build-out of the Vineyard Commons project to develop a parcel of land described as tax parcel 13-47-011 and or 13-48-019, 13-53009, and 13-48-149 in Concord Township that would affect the existing intersection of Wilmington, Westchester Pike, and Watkins Avenue. The township would request that the developer contribute to the traffic calming measures, if any, which have been installed by the applicant pursuant to condition number 5C. The amount of said contribution shall be based on traffic studies as required by the township and the township's engineer's analysis thereof. Condition number 8, a line lot change of an identified building lot is permitted as long as said lot meets the applicable area, bulk, and setback requirements. However, should conformance to the requirements of NPDES cause the elimination of a lot, no relocation and or replacement to another location within the project is permitted. Condition 10, the well guarantee agreement will be appropriately tailored for a preliminarily approved residential development that proposes both public water and public sewer. Condition number 17, the payment of fee in lieu will be apportioned and paid upon the filing of plans reflecting the phased development of the site. That was discussed at the last meeting when the board took the vote.
So that is all included, that is all included in Resolution 33 of 2015. I would ask for a motion to approve Resolution 32 of 2015.
Are we having public comment?
We will take a motion and a second, and we will have public comment before we vote.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 33 of 2015, which is ratification of resolution number 24 of 2015 and 32 of 2015.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, any questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from the public, we would kindly ask you to come up and use the microphone. And we'd like to
Ed Keno, 415 Concord Road. I have a question about condition 5A and 5B. And I'd like for the board to explain to us why it's in the best interest of the township not to have these road improvements done before shovel breaks ground starting on this whole project. Because the increased traffic, that the construction, the trucks and everything, these roads should be done first before anything happens to this project. That's my feeling. Explain to me why you're waiting five years or 50% of phase 4, or 3 years for the start of phase 1. I don't understand why the road doesn't get fixed first.
other developments in Concord Township, the road improvements have been performed ongoing during the course of the construction. And this is what we're going to be doing here.
Well, I understand that, but this is 202. This is a major jam to start with, and you're throwing more construction traffic on it without any road improvements.
We are comfortable with that decision. We're talking to our consultant.
I'm not comfortable with it. I think it's making a big mistake.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
And Bill 39, Bill Race Place. So it was mentioned that if the right-of-way cannot be obtained by the developer, the township will obtain right-of-way. Can I get a clarification of that? Are you saying that the township will use eminent domain to seize land along 202 to be Valley Road?
I think that would be an option, but normally we've never had to do that. We've been able to work things out with adjoining property owners to get right of way for road improvements.
So I have two things to say about that. One, where will that money come from if you use eminent domain?
Normally the developers pay that.
The developer will pay for land. And so you're willing to use eminent domain to take other people's property for a road improvement from a development that we're asking you to use eminent domain to protect this land. You will use eminent domain.
Your statement, I think there are two different things. Next, anyone else for public comment?
Mr. Pleasant, you have it in your power to protect this land, do you not?
Anyone else for public comment?
Yes,
Yes, Rufus Smiley.
yes, Rufus Miley, 22 Leopard Run. My question is, when are you going to discuss with the group about, I believe,
Rufus, get to the mic.
when are you going to discuss with the attendees here the status of the litigation involving this property? And whether, my question is whether or not there is other, I've read in the newspaper about one matter of litigation, but is there others that have been filed? For example, has the applicant filed anything?
The only thing that I'm aware of is what was filed, the newspaper article reference, is that correct?
That's correct. There's an appeal that's been filed. The applicant is a party, the township is a party. And does that answer your question?
Well, has the applicant himself filed any appeal?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's why you're the attorney. We have to depend on you to answer the question.
There was no appeal from him.
So what is the process as far as the appeal is concerned? And I'm asking, I'm not an attorney, so I'm asking.
Sure. The record will be going up to the Court of Common Pleas. There's been a request for the record. So the record gets transmitted to the court. At some point, a judge will be assigned, and I'll tell you more when I find out. But that's all I can tell you right now.
Right now, it's just paper that has been filed.
That's correct.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Colette Brown, 5 Conway Lane, Elm Hills. I have a couple of questions. One is, since you voted without hearing public comment from your constituents, will each of you be rescinding your votes and reconsidering your votes this evening?
The business at hand is to approve Resolution 33 of 2015. There's no rescission of any votes. We are going to be acting on Resolution 33 of 2015.
So there continues to be no consideration or concerns for the public opinion of the people you were elected to serve.
We are Do you have another question?
I do.
Answer it.
We didn't get an answer to that question.
Personally, I am doing what I think is in the best interest of Concord Township. Obviously, you do not agree, so there's move on to your next question. Thank you.
Next question. Do the supervisors have any legal obligation to approve waivers to ordinances? Are you legally constrained, required, forced?
The waiver system is set up in the municipality plan code in the state of Pennsylvania, and we can grant waivers, and we have elected to grant waivers in this case and in many other cases over the years.
I understand that you can grant waivers, but my question is, are you legally required to grant those waivers?
I can't answer that, I'm not aware.
Mr. Donahue, can you answer that for us?
Sure. Is the board required to grant waivers? Is that your question?
Yes.
No, they are not required to grant waivers.
Thank you. Then my next question is, as an elected official, would each of you agree that one of your most important roles is to serve and act on behalf of the residents and taxpayers of Concord Township?
Absolutely.
So since, and I'm sure you will all say, well, you can't demonstrate that the majority of voters are opposed to this, because you can see that we're here tonight. Have you done anything to assess whether or not the majority of voters are in favor or opposed to the Beaver Valley development?
We've listened to the testimony at the hearings, and we are acting on this plan.
So based on the testimony in the hearings, would you agree that the majority of residents are opposed to the development of Beaver Valley?
No, because I don't think the majority out of order in here. I think the majority of the people that spoke at the hearings were not residents of Concord Township.
I don't think you have any
We have-
basis to make that
Okay.
decision on, Mr. Pileggi. And the majority of residents do not want, if you were to do any due diligence here, and if you were to determine that the majority of residents are opposed to the development of Beaver Valley, would that influence your decision at all?
Ma'am, we are here to act on this resolution this evening. Do you have anything else to add? I'm not answering the question.
You mentioned that the board inadvertently failed to let residents offer public comment. Are you responsible for understanding and following the laws, such as the Sunshine Act?
Yes, we are, and I personally don't think that we were required to have public comment at that meeting, but to err on the side of caution, that's why we're back here this evening.
Okay, so you did not follow the law at that meeting, so
And I
they're not.
think we did follow the law, but on advice of council, we're going to have this meeting here again tonight.
So basically, there's nothing that the residents can say that will even be taken into consideration.
Do you have any other
relative to
questions?
development.
Do you have
That's a
any other
question.
questions? I've heard all I need. Any other
So,
questions?
Mr. Pileggi, might I add, this is not about you hearing what you want to hear. This is about your residents.
Ann Miller, 850 Shakertown Road. I guess I need to understand the resolution there, the public asked to speak, and the public was told they could not. So this is not a case of, oops, we forgot. This is a public that's very, very engaged in this process, and they were denied the opportunity to speak up and to ask the questions that impact their safety of their children. They're on school buses, they go through those intersections. You can ignore me if you want to. I think your rudeness, well, let me get to my comments. You know, this township had rules in place to protect the nature and the environment of the township that existed here. Those were what you all were elected to come into. I don't know who has got your attention, but my gosh, I'm here. The 5 of you were elected to represent and honor the wishes of people. You keep talking about there's people from outside that did this. We are those people, and we live here, and we've given you our names and our addresses every time we come to speak to you. In this process, when I think about what has gone wrong, first of all, honoring the wishes of outsiders over the people that live here and have to educate their children, go to work, and support their homes here. That's something that's gone very wrong here. I think that you've shown such rude disregard that I can't imagine in front of tapes that you've allowed yourself to be seen in that light. It kind of takes my breath away. You had the delegated responsibility to represent the interests. The question I've never heard answered was the question she asked, why is this in our best interest? So I will pause at the end of my comments, and I hope that Bill can answer why this is really in the best interest to develop this particular piece of property in this way. So I'm looking for that answer. I'm insulted again if I inadvertently wish not to hear what we have to say. You've kind of, I think the thing that bothers me the most, you know, I go beyond a piece of property, and I always have when I've made my comments to you. I think the disregard that you've shown for health and welfare, meaning clean water and clean air for populations of people that live in this township in the future, you're going down with a moniker about you that I really wouldn't want to have as an elected official who ought to be looking out for clean water, clean air. But you know the thing that I think I resent the most? I think you all have suddenly seen this as a we have to win at all costs. And you've lost your humanity. You've lost your ability to reason and listen to what people have to say. But I'm going to tell you what you have taught. I'm going to tell you that Save the Valley was led by the young people that will be leading this township in the future. It was a young person's argument. It's a place to go and walk their dogs and enjoy nature. And you're taking that away from them, but you've taken away something far more precious. You've taught them that democracy doesn't really work here. The entire township is showing up with your argument and your desire to be listened to and put an argument forward that doesn't pay off. You've been rude to people. You've scared them away from even showing up and speaking. You know? So, the fact that you would agree to a plan, I mean, forget the water, forget the air, forget some of the important things. What I heard you say tonight is an intersection that I bet I go through 6 times, but none of the new people that are going to live in this town in these houses are ever going to go out of this once. They're going to go out once and they're going to come back in. That's what the traffic studies said. But I know they're going to come through the same intersection I go through about 6 times a day. And you have said that it's okay for them to wait 3 or 5 years before we even begin to address the additional traffic that's going to go through that intersection, and you think that's okay? You all must live someplace else. You must not live near this intersection. It's dangerous now, and it's only going to get worse. So, in our best interest to do this, other than whatever mixed up confusion there is on interest. And I think the second piece I need to understand is there was a decision, they had 15 days to respond, we got it in 15 days, but now we forgot to let the public speak, so now there has to be another resolution that extends it actually beyond what I think we're allowed to do in terms of due process. So I would like to hear answers as to what is the cleanness of this process and why is this in our best interest?
Well, this is not a time where the board is required to answer your questions. This is an opportunity for the public to speak, to voice their concerns to the board so the board can take it under consideration.
Well, no, the decisions are
But-
made, so we're
but if-
here. The decision's made, so now I need to understand, you said very clearly, this is in our township's best interest, and you all said, yes, it's in our best interest. Tell me why. Tell me in a way that these news reporters can report it and explain to the world why Concord Township has spent a year, 2 years, having this really heated debate where the public feels unheard, and the 5 of you decided this was in our best interest, and we're going to go do it whether you want it or not. Help me understand that, and help me understand the traffic implications.
I'd like to answer your question,
Thank you.
answer another person's question. I was unable to be here on April 14th, and I think you asked if I would be rescinding my vote. Well, I cannot rescind my vote because I wasn't here, but if I was here on April 14th, I would have voted no, just like I'm going to vote no tonight. Everyone in this room knows my position on this, and I do not feel it is in the best interest, and that is why I voted no, and I will be voting no tonight.
Thank you, Chairman.
Are you still living? I think would like to answer my question.
If I could say something, please. I've been quiet, listening to the audience. The applicant prepared plans. It prepared them in accordance with the existing regulations that we have in our township. Our consultants reviewed them. They've issued letters. We've listened to testimony. And in my opinion, it meets the best interest. When an applicant, whether it's this project or 2-lot subdivision, we listen to our consultants, and that's our technical advice. And
Yeah, but this requires a waiver. This requires something that you don't have to give. Why would you approve waivers, and why would you not hold them to the safety of what we need to do with PennDOT to make it safe for this many more people to be driving on this road and at this intersection?
well, you'll find out when we cast our votes. I mean, that's the way it is.
I just want to say first and foremost, I take a little bit of offense. I certainly hope no one in this room feels I've ever bullied them or made them feel at a meeting that they shouldn't attend. I don't think I've ever said anything to make anyone feel that way, and honestly, I don't feel like any of the board members have. I do have You think you feel, okay. Well, I certainly hope that I haven't, and I will say that I do have a few neighbors that because of some of the things that have been outside at this middle school, et cetera, did not want to come and speak in favor. But I have had several phone calls, people appreciating that they can afford to live in this township because of the way we handle the taxes, and because the taxes won't be going up because we're trying to buy a piece of property we can't afford. If we had the money in the budget, I've said it before, then we would certainly try, to do something. And we have put what money we can afford to put up as far as at least how I feel about it. I do believe that there are rights and that people who own property have those rights. Again, with the Hall property, I did not vote in favor. I don't feel that people who have single family homes should have to have twins or townhomes behind them, with the zoning change. In this instance, this is the way this property has always been zoned, and when you buy your house, you need to look around and say what potentially could happen based on who owns this property. And that's really how I base my decision, and that's really all I can say.
So you feel that it is in the township's best interest because it's going to bring in tax money?
I've had a lot of individuals say that they're glad they can still afford to live in Concord Township.
Okay, can we move on to the gentleman behind? Go ahead. Okay, sir, good enough. Thank you. Name and address, please.
Gupta, 34 Shopley, and you made it, you guys made it clear you guys don't care about the comments, so you don't care to answer anybody's question. So I have a comment to make. What is happening here is a mockery of democracy. You guys are here for all the people, and we have had the experts in the planning commission meeting, which were the best in their field, and now you guys are giving excuse that your engineer or your expert said you should go ahead with the plan, this is pure rubbish. And also I want to say, you made a comment that most of the people in the meeting were outsiders. As far as we can see, is only people who are outsiders are these people whom you are supporting and behaving as outsiders yourself. So what you guys are doing, I just want to let you guys know, I don't know where you guys get your facts from, Ms. Libby, but you guys are the most despicable characters in this township.
Good evening, ladies and board. I thank you for this opportunity to speak on this issue. I'm Bob Richmond, 503 Meadowlark Terrace, and I live in a retirement community of about 1,400 residents. I do not speak for them, I speak for myself. But I can tell you that no one there that I have communicated with has spoken in approval of Beaver Valley development. Moreover, I haven't met any Concord resident outside of the board members who approve of Beaver Valley development. And I believe that it would be defeated in a referendum. Now, at your March 18th, when you voted for approval of the preliminary plan, one voted no with reasons, one voted yes with no reasons, and two voted yes with reasons. Those reasons being that you follow the guidance of your consultant, as you already indicated, sir, which I recall concerned engineering and compliance issues. But consultants do not determine public policy. You, our elected leaders, have a public trust. It is in the interest of the public that you step in and fill the void created by the Woodlawn trustees who apparently have advocated from their stewardship of this wildlife habitat which they created, and for many decades citizens such as myself have enjoyed using. So the public has as much or perhaps more of a claim on this property than do the prospective developers. Now, human-created structures may come and go, and you have an opportunity here to create a lasting monument to the township, the county, and Beaver Valley. The opportunity to create this, you might say, open space monument by protecting it from development. So generations yet to come will appreciate the preservation of the beautiful, fragile, and unusual open space known as Beaver Valley. You've already pledged $500 million towards this end. And tonight, your challenge is to take the high moral ground and disapprove of the Vineyard Commons application. Now please go and do what is right.
Speak up, Chris.
Is this better? I have a comment and a question. Good evening to you. Just a comment. Earlier, I heard you say it was plenty other developments, and that was the reason for talking. From day one, this is considered by the board, planning commission, the county commission, excuse me, as a unique plan. So I was a little surprised to hear it called because it is a unique development. Let's be consistent there. It means a hell of a lot to a lot of us. Now on to my question. Because they simply don't know. I will, if construction starts, what happens if the right-of-way is not approved? So if construction starts.
Well, one of the things, could I answer your question?
Please.
I believe that's part of the requirements that the applicant has to show us a plan of the detailed construction of Beaver Valley Road after they've met with PennDOT. So we can determine, so they can determine what the right of way of the road is versus the parkway, and what the required width would be in accordance with PennDOT requirements. Now, should it happen that there's not enough right of way, then it would have to be acquired. Developer would have to acquire, we would have to acquire. How that would happen, I'm not sure. Whether we would use eminent domain, as mentioned earlier, it's a possibility, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. We just don't know at this point. We have to get an approved plan from PennDOT to be submitted for us to review.
I think also, if you look at the resolution, I think one of the first things that happened, it calls for what we're referring to as a sketch plan of traffic improvements. So both the township, the applicant, and PennDOT can agree on what is feasible to be done and what can be done within existing right-of-ways. And then if more right-of-ways are required, we tackle that next. But I think it's very specific that there's going to be a traffic improvement sketch plan first to determine what can be done using existing right-of-ways.
So understanding this correct, there's still some unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why, excuse me, that's why it's a preliminary plan.
This is a preliminary plan, not a final plan, it's a preliminary plan.
If you look at it, the sketch plan would be done, this roadway sketch plan is done before the final plan is approved. At that time, we would agree exactly how wide the left turn lane would be, how wide the road shoulders would be. Everything is worked out at that time.
Thank you. So,
excuse me, I got one other thing.
please.
If you strictly interpret the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code, we have been very fortunate here in Concord in getting developers to agree to pay for traffic improvements. A municipality cannot, excuse me, let me finish. If you know something about this, please debate me on it. If you don't, listen. But what I'm saying is, we as a municipality, this is statewide, we cannot put traffic improvements as a condition of approval. But we have been fortunate in doing so and having developers agree to it. Now, they can agree to it, but if they didn't want to agree to it, Rufus mentioned earlier, if they wanted to appeal our decision based on the traffic improvements, they would probably win. But we said, no, if this is going to go forward, we have to do something with the traffic. I think there's a very, very lack of understanding of development and municipality planning rules and things of what we're covered by.
I've learned quite a bit, but certainly don't know as much as yourself. So it's all preliminary. Right. I understand that. Thank you. However, they can start to build.
No.
Before the roads.
Not until the road, they will not get a final plan approval until the scope of the road work is resolved.
Resolved and finalized?
Finalized, yes. We would have to know where the right of way is. That plan would have to be approved.
And completed?
No, there's a time frame for completing the roadway improvements that's recited in the resolution.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'd like to call one more because we do have a very full agenda. Last one.
Last one. What the hell? I can't make that.
If the development is approved, who's responsible for the maintenance of the roadway, the new roadway that will be there?
That's becomes, at one time, sooner or later, it will be a dedicated road. It is not a private road.
Understood. That's what I'm
Yes.
So
it out to maintain it, so it's a wash.
So you're talking about the internal road, sir, not Beaver Valley Road?
Correct.
Or both, I mean.
No, Beaver Valley Road is a state highway.
Beaver Valley Road would be wider.
So PennDOT would maintain that.
And the interior.
The interior roads in the development, I believe they're going to be offered for dedication to the township.
And then who maintains the,
Township would maintain
and it won't cost any more money?
them. We get money from the state each year based on the amount of miles of highway and population
Ends up washing
to maintain our roads. We've been doing that forever. It's in the state law.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Last one.
Yeah, last one.
Last one.
I have a couple of,
Please, we have some.
Maureen, use the microphone. Maureen, use the microphone.
Use the microphone, please.
Okay, last one. Everything I hear us talking about tonight, all the questions and all your responses, nothing indicates that anything is happening except this moving forward. This development moving forward.
We haven't voted yet. You have another question?
Right. Do I have a question? Yes. Has any development ever come here and made it through the planning commission? And then you give them, I know they have to come up with some more plans and whatnot, but you vote tonight that you're gonna let them come up with more plans and whatnot, and not be ultimately approved.
I will have to go back through the record. I don't remember.
Well, I don't have those same records, but I've been here for 35 years, and I understand progress. I mean, I sell real estate, but I don't believe once you guys make the decision tonight that anything goes backwards.
I think if you're asking if the plan receives a preliminary plan approval, does it normally proceed to final plan submission? The answer to that is yes. The final plan submission process and review process would have to be acted on to see if those plans are in compliance with all the conditions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to predict where this will go until we see the application and have had a chance to look at the drawings.
Thank you, but that wasn't my question. My question is, how many times, and you don't, you're saying you don't know how many times, I'm saying very few times, if ever, a group of developers have gotten to this point, and tonight you're saying, well, we need resolution this and this and this and this before we'll actually give you your final approval, but how often does it ever get this far and then not happen?
I can't answer that.
I can, it's like maybe 0.02%.
Okay, well then, thank you. Okay, that being said, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of passing, adopting resolution 33 of 2015, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, let's raise the no's first, so we don't have this. Kevin, good enough.
I'm voting no. Thank you, sir.